All right, wait, where's my music? Why do I have no game music? Let me restart the app. October season preview. Hold up. Yo, what's up, Josh? How's it going? What's up, Mkatsu? What's up, Blind Man? What's up, Dami? How's it going? Welcome. All right. All right. Why is there no music? Let's see. Where am I going? All right. I'm confused why there's no music. All right, let me try to reset one more time. Maybe I'll close all my apps. Okay. There we go. All right, now we have game music. Okay, cool. So we have the stage channel, which I'm going to be pulling up on the side here, and we are just going to kind of listen to it. While we're like playing games and everything like that. So let me come over here. Let's turn them. All right, let's make sure that the audio is good here. Nope. Let's do. How about this?
Simulator, right? You just...
Okay. Now we can hear it. Let's turn the music down so it's just kind of in the background while we're listening. All right, let's keep it up. Here we go.
And it kind of made her like an ambulance simulator, right? You just play her with all the healers. Healers are spamming heals on a tank who then gets more energy to put her shield up more often. It's a bit of a like woof, woof, woof.
Since it's been a while since we had both Abdude and Enchant on the stage channel, and it's your first time, Seth, let's do some intros. Let's tell us who you guys are. Who are you? Who are you people? Where's Frame? This isn't Frame.
All right, well, maybe I'll go first then. So, hey everyone, I'm Seth. I'm a game designer who's worked at Supercell now for about 5 years. Frame is on a well-deserved vacation after doing so much for the community all by himself. So I'm taking over for this month's stage channel chat. So we're going to talk today about the previous balance changes, what the goals of it were, and how it went. Going to take some questions here from the crowd and audience, and then we'll talk a little bit about next month's balance changes and some of the things that we can share a little bit early this month.
Abu
Oh,
and Jen,
well,
do you guys want to go?
yeah, I'll go next. Okay, that sounds great. So, if anyone doesn't know me, I'm Abdul, and I'm a content creator making YouTube videos about Clash Mini, focusing mostly on the technical side. And I have some interesting balanced questions for Seth today.
All right, and I'm in Jadden. I'm a content creator for Clash Mini. Been doing it pretty much since day one.
You guys hear
and I'm
the
excited
stage channel audio, right?
to have the stage channel and break down the balance and how it's going to be going moving forward in Clash Mini.
Nice, nice. Oh, then should we start? So we'll go about 40 minutes ish with what you guys in your community has, and then we'll go 20 minutes with the audience. I think that sounds fair. So yeah,
Yeah.
take it away, guys.
All right, so I guess I'll go first here. And this is a question for Seth. Seth, Skeleton King has been pretty weak for a while now since no movement, and he kind of feels very awkward with his kit. Any plans to fix him?
Yeah, I mean, Skeleton King is one of the coolest characters, one of the coolest champions from Clash Royale, and it's awesome to see him in Clash Mini. Definitely, he's in a bit of a weird design spot because currently he only feels viable with Royal Ghost, and we all kind of saw what it felt like when Royal Ghost is overtuned, right? Like when Royal Ghost is a bit too strong for the meta, how that feels to have Skeleton King and Royal Ghost everywhere. So I think what we'd like to do is, well, Skeleton King, right? He's the king of the skeletons, and yet his kit in Clash Mini doesn't summon any skeletons, right? It's a kind of his defining feature in Clash Royale, and he sort of lacks it in Clash Mini. So what we've been looking into is how can we have him actually spawn skeletons? Trying to create that feeling of, when he does his super or when he revives, having the skeleton army alongside of him.
Wow. Okay. That's a super interesting point. All right. So, chat. I'm just gonna kind of pause through as we're like listening to this talk. You guys hear the talk and everything, right? Like, oops, I'm not crazy. Like, you guys hear everything that's being said, right? Can I get some confirmations in chat, please? Before we move forward, otherwise I was just sitting there in awkward silence, and then that makes this stream a little bit more awkward. Yes, sir? Okay, cool. So you guys hear that and everything. So basically, if you guys are just tuning in, we're listening to the Balance Changes stage channel that was being talked about. And they were just talking about it in terms of potentially adding in where Skeleton King, like its whole gimmick in Clash Royale is the Skeleton King spawns in skeletons. So they're trying to look and figure out how to add that mechanic into Clash Mini. And right now, the only thing in Clash Mini that spawns anything is Witch, right? Like it spawns in an additional, well, and I guess technically the Prince, if you consider the pony, like Pony is a summon, I guess. So Prince and Witch are the only things that summon right now. So very interesting to see how they're going to implement that part of it. But yeah, let's grab this. So I think that's really interesting. I think that would be super cool. And I'm curious to see how they implement that. And we're probably going to lose this round. Yeah, we are. 100%. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going with the stage channel.
So the challenge there is if you give him just like 3 hit point skeletons, then he triggers more, then he's allowing enemies to trigger their boasts pretty easily. So they're trying to find that balance of like, how do you get him to have this feeling of being like a spawner or a summoner, but without feeling too similar to Witch or having weaknesses that make his kit worse overall.
All right, that sounds pretty cool.
What part of his kit do you find awkward?
So I kind of find the awkwardness of the Skeleton King kind of comes from the isolation damage, when other minis can just pile up on him and then he can't really, get down his dissipation, which is kind of his strongest, thing about his kit, is dissipating down opposing minis, as well as doing a large chunk of damage to him. Because if he's not able to isolate anything, kind of becomes almost lackluster.
Sure. I got the stats in front of me right here, so hopefully when we talk about this, I can pull up the actual up-to-date game stats that might help illustrate why we make some of these changes. So, Skeleton King, in the last 2 weeks, looking at games at 2,000 trophies or higher, so that just so I don't have to keep pulling different groups of stats, all the stats we talk about today will be at 2,000 trophies and higher over the last 2 weeks. Skeleton King is the third least played hero. Only Wavemaster and Natureborn have been played less, and Skeleton King has a 42% win rate. That's really low, like lower than we would like.
Wait, hold on. Did he just say only Wavemaster and Natureborn have been played less? Let's think. Where have we seen that ranking before? Oh, that's right. My tier list. Huh? My tier list reflects game data. Hey, that's kind of hype. Let's go.
Like on both of those metrics, right? You want your characters to have at least a 45% win rate, and when it's the third least played hero, when it's such a cool character, we know that there's some gap there that we can try to fill. So we're hoping to buff Skeleton King. I agree the isolation damage is a little awkward, but thematically we're trying to keep isolation damage as a thematic buff that's found on spooky characters. So we're going to try to keep it there for now, but if other buffs don't work, or if we're having a hard time with his kit feeling awkward later, we could change the isolation damage, but that's not going to change next month.
I do have something about the isolation damage. Have you ever considered having the dissipate a little bit weaker when the target is not isolated, and it gets stronger when it's isolated, instead of like being binary with 0 dissipate on no isolation and 100% the power of the dissipate with isolation?
I think that's a great idea. Like, one of the challenges with Clash Mini that I've been trying to address with like the text overhauls is the clarity of game abilities. When you look at a character, you should be able to understand how it works and be able to sort of envision like the situations where it's good or bad. I like that idea of scaling dissipate. I think we could look into that, but I always try to keep in mind, like, how would this read in the text box? How would a new player look at this card and be able to digest it? Especially because, in the next update, we're going to be adding a lot more minis. And so not all the existing minis, but a lot of the existing.
In the next update, we're going to be adding a lot of new minis. Let's go. Yes.
Minis are going to be part of the new player experience. And so I think most of the pre-existing minis in the game might need to be simpler or more clear or easier to understand, because they're going to be the things that players see, early on.
All right. And speaking of, I think you just touched upon text simplicity, and you're trying to make wording in the game much easier to understand. Does this also mean anything will change based on that?
They confirmed.
So one change that's coming, this is actually great feedback from the community. So in the last update, we did this text overhaul. We added a lot of more color coding, used some of the green text to show like differences between skills, tried to get more of a template and formatting in there. And then afterwards, we went on social media and asked for feedback. What could be better? What could be improved? And something that actually came in from the fans that I thought was genius is we are changing the term rampage for when you go under 50% health. We're going to change that to injury. So, injury, do this. And
Interesting.
similarly, we're going to change the Bandit and Magic Archer's execution special, where they do bonus damage to people under 50%, to bonus damage to injured enemies. So there's sort of this like tying these two abilities together, right? Rampage would trigger when you're under 50% health. These other characters did damage to characters under 50% health. Let's try to combine those words together to make it clearer and easier to understand. So that's like one text change that's exciting, but it also opened up, I think, a really fun balance change for Mini Pekka. So one change coming next month is Mini Pekka is no longer going to deal +2 damage to stunned enemies.
Oh,
that's kind of an
interesting.
awkward upgrade for Mini Pekka because stuns are trying to be less common. We're not trying to have as many stuns in the game, and stuns don't last quite so long, right? They're 2 seconds long, something like that. It's a bit hard for a slow attacking character to get those attacks in. So next month, that upgrade will be changed from 2x damage to stunned enemies to +2 damage against healthy enemies. And healthy is above 50% health.
Okay, so it sounds like they're introducing new terms: injury, or like injured, and healthy. And basically, it sounds like injured is going to be when the units are below 50%. Healthy is going to be when the units are above 50%. So, that could actually be really interesting, because then there could be new healing mechanics, like healing targets the most injured unit, right? 2+ damage to healthy enemies. Yeah, so like that means if the unit is above 50% health, Mini Pekka is going to be dealing 2 more damage to it. So basically, Mini Pekka is going to be like a pseudo tank, or not a pseudo DPS, where it's going to deal more damage to the units that are healthy. And then when they're not healthy, basically Mini Pekka is like, I'm going to deal the damage, and then I have other units behind me who will finish the job. I think that's pretty cool.
So this is something where the text changes not only help streamline existing abilities in the game, but also introduced kind of new keywords, new abilities that are really easy for players to understand, because healthy above 50%, injured under 50%, boom. I can easily remember that. And we can use that and apply it across a lot of different characters in the future.
That's sick.
So with that being said, with the 2x damage changing to +2 damage, I know a lot of minis and heroes in the game currently are 2x damage. Are there any plans to potentially maybe change any of those?
Okay, yes, but let's talk about why first.
Okay.
So I think when I'm looking at the balance right now, I'm looking at all the characters on the little balance dashboards that we have here at Supercell, and I only see one massive outlier. One card that is played dramatically more than all the rest, with a significantly higher win rate than all the rest. What do you think that character is?
It's minor.
Barbarian King. It has to be Barbarian King.
Yeah.
You got to guess in chat. You're going to go with Barbarian King. Say the chat's saying Prince. We got a few people saying Prince, Archer.
No, wait. Is that hero or mini?
Just any figure, any character.
Oh, anything.
Minor, BK, Archer, BK.
My guess is minor.
Monk, Archer,
Look at the
Pekka.
Prince.
The only outlier that I can really see on the overpowered side, there's a few characters that definitely need buffs, but on the overpowered side, the only character that is like singularly a huge outlier is the Barbarian King.
Yeah.
The Barbarian King is played more than twice as often as the next hero above 2,000 trophies over the last 2 weeks, right? Like,
Wait, twice as often? What? Twice as often? Wow, that's a lot.
keeping that in
Wow.
mind. It is, I'm looking at, about 455,000 battles with Barbarian King, and there's under 210 with Royal Champion, the second.
455,000 matches? Whoa. Did we hear that right? Did we hear that right? 455,000 matches with a single hero, and everybody's saying, "Oh, I thought Clash Mini was a dead game." For nearly 500,000 matches with one hero, and you're saying Clash Mini is a dead game? In the past 3 weeks, nearly 500,000 matches played with one hero. That doesn't count everything else. 210 is World Champion. That's 665,000. I'm going to say that again for the people louder in the back. 655,000 with two heroes in the game. Game's dead.
Second place character. So the giant,
That's crazy.
Giant disparity. And to point out that the heroes, let's say heroes number 2 through 5.
This game is made by Supercell,
right? The
yes.
next 5 most
Thank you for the
played
follow,
heroes
Jake, as well.
are
Appreciate it.
all about 49%, 51%, 52, 50% win rate, all right around the middle. Barbarian King is played more than twice as often and holds over a 56% win rate. It's like 56 point something, kind of depending on what you're looking at.
That's wild.
That's
Nearly 500,000 matches, and my dude holds a 56% win rate with 500,000 matches nearly. Dude's got a 56% win rate. How can it be dead? It hasn't even fully released yet. Well, that was my take, 0-1. That's why I said, I was like, you can't have a dead game if it's in beta, right? Like, beta is meant to be like a smaller player base, but like the fact that they're getting, like, if they're getting 455,000 from the most played hero and then 210,000 from the second played hero, that's gonna mean that there's quite a significant amount of players. Yeah. How can I listen to this podcast on my own? I want to catch it from the beginning. Calreal, if you search up Stage Channel 24 Clash Mini on YouTube, it should pop up there. This happened last night at like 3 a.m. my time, so like obviously I was asleep. So I'm just listening to it on stream now.
insane.
Wild. So something is fundamentally wrong with Barbarian King and his kit. I really like the last stand ability. I think that adding in Unstoppable to his last stand is really fun. Like it's a heroic moment. It feels cool. It makes you it really, you recognize it, right? It's a very clear on the board thing happening. So we're deciding not to change that. We're gonna keep that 3 seconds and Unstoppable. But his super, the 2x attack damage to all allies on the field is maybe fundamentally broken, right? I think that ability on a tough melee attacker, as opposed to a support character or something like that, is causing a lot of constraints on design space. It makes it hard to create characters with high attack damage because you're always having to consider like, oh, well, yeah, and Barbarian King is going to double it. It's made cards like Pekka like kind of difficult to balance. Pekka on her own isn't really that strong, but when Pekka's dealing 48 damage or whatever, you know what I mean? Like dealing just like huge amounts of damage per swing, it becomes really hard to balance her when there's always this like perpetual 2x attack damage buff. So we are changing Barbarian King next month from doubling the attack damage to +2 attack damage. Now,
we're changing the Barbarian King from ×2 to +2. Absolute W. That's what I'm talking about. Holy. Let's go, Seth. Can we keep Seth? Fan or frame, if you're watching this VOD back or just happen to be watching live, can we keep Seth? Please.
For Barbarian King's main play style, which is spreading out a lot of low-cost minis, 2-cost minis, things like that, it actually is pretty similar, right? +2 damage on an archer is doubling archer's damage. In some cases, it's better than the old buff because for characters like Skeleton Guard and Ice Wizard, they're going to get triple attack damage, right? They're going to go from 1 to 3 instead of just doubling. But for anything above 2 attack damage, it's going to be less of a buff. It's still really good if you've got 3 or 4 attack damage, right? Like plus 50% is pretty strong, but it's going to take away these situations where a character like Pekka gets 20 bonus damage on their attacks.
Okay, I actually like that. So, like, basically they're wanting to change Pekka, or change Barbarian King, so that way it doesn't, like, for Pekka, who does like 24 damage, it's not going to deal 48 damage anymore, right? Like, thank God. Like, that is a much needed change. I definitely agree with that change. I think it makes a ton of sense. We clutch that W. Let's go. So basically, like, for the weaker units, right? So for like Wizard, it's instead of Wizard doing 6 damage, Wizard's only going to deal 5 damage. Instead of Archer does 2 damage, so when it's multiplied, it's 4. So +2, it's still going to be 4. So it sounds like they're trying to keep it the same for like the lower units, right? And then for the higher units that deal more damage, that's where it's going to impact it. So I think that's a lot better because now it still provides Barbarian King with the value, but it doesn't overpower things like Pekka, right? So I really like that. I really like that a lot.
All right.
Well,
I was
very interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how would that affect Natureborn and Archer Queen? You talked about wanting abilities to be consistent.
This is a great question.
Yeah. So right now, Archer Queen does not appear to be broken. I mean, she is the 6th most played hero, slightly above a 50% win rate. So I don't see a need to change her for the next month. Although, of course, just looking at stats doesn't paint the whole picture. But at least that ability is not going to change. For Natureborn, even though it is a doubling of attack damage, it's a bit more conditional. Right, you have to be able to overheal the character, which might happen once. It also requires some targeting and like being nearby to each other. There's just a bit more skill in executing Natureborn's bonus, so we're gonna leave her the same as well. Again, Barbarian King is such an outlier that something kind of needs to be done over the next month. We can't leave Barbarian King the way he is, and just reducing the last stand duration doesn't really solve all of the broken interactions that he's creating with Pekka, Archer, and things like that.
Interesting. Will this be strong with Witch?
So can we hop on a question
it'll probably
about
die too
frenzy
quick
mode,
to
frenzy
really make
timer?
a difference,
So,
in my opinion.
That's
Maybe I'm
something
wrong.
that was discussed in the community before, but in Frenzy, if let's say there is a 4.5 second stun, if it happened 1 frame before Frenzy, it would get all the 4.5 second stun, which is like super massive value. And if it happened 1 frame after the Frenzy, it would only be 1.5 second of stun, which is very, very terrible compared to the other option. And also another thing is the Unstoppable on Healing Ranger, for some reason, does not seem to kind of reduce with Frenzy. So it's still 5 seconds. So it's kind of like an unlimited Unstoppable during Frenzy. I'm not sure if that's intended or if it's a bug.
Yeah, Frenzy mode is interesting. Like, it definitely has some of these complications that need to be smoothed out. I think it's worth mentioning that what is possible via balance changes, and what's something that can be done via a balance change, which just happens, you update your app and download it, versus what needs a full game client update where you go to the app store and we do a release and you have to download the new build. So anything that can be done through balance changes is basically changing numbers in a spreadsheet. I can change attack damage, health values, and to a limited extent, I can make new abilities as long as I'm reusing bits and pieces of other existing abilities. What needs a game client update would be anything that affects the logic of the game engine or how the game like handles battles or processes information. It's kind of hard to describe exactly like what the difference there would be, but how the game handles frenzy mode, how it affects stuns and accelerates existing buffs and things on the field is not something that I can affect via balance changes. So there is nothing happening for frenzy mode until update 8. But that's not to say that the team isn't thinking about it or focused on it. There's been multiple bugs around frenzy mode and the kind of stuff you're discussing being shared in our like tech and gameplay channel, and engineers are looking into how to solve this, as well as the true red, true blue stuff. I mean, they're really digging into the game code.
Nice.
Clash Mini is built on top of Clash Royale's game engine, so some of these like historical bugs that Clash Royale has dealt with also exist in Clash Mini. So like they're looking into that for the next update, but that's like just to set expectations. It would require a game client update for frenzy mode to be addressed. Although I know it is something that they're looking into.
Wow. Okay. So that's interesting. So Clash Mini was built on Clash Royale's engine, essentially. And then it sounds like frenzy mode will be addressed in update 8 because there's a difference between a server update and a client update. So if you missed that part of it, the client update is when you like go to the app store, you download the update, and that the server update is when they just push it through. You open the game, it says like downloading, and then it just patches it by itself. So that's the difference. That's the big difference there. So that will be interesting. I just joined the stream. Have they talked about Wavemaster yet? Wavemaster is the second least played hero in the game, and has below 50% win rate. That's pretty much all you missed. They'll probably move on to other stuff soon. We're like 19 minutes into an hour-long video, but I'm pausing it to like share my thoughts in between and everything like that. So we'll keep rolling with it.
All right, that sounds good. True blue, true red, there's been something that people were complaining a lot about. Another thing that people are complaining about is tiles. I mainly want to have your opinion. What do you think about tiles changing the meta every day? And do you feel like it affects the kind of balance spreadsheet stats that you're looking at? And do you think we would benefit from having 2 game modes, one being with tiles and one being without tiles, kind of like that?
Yeah, I think. Well, let's talk, I guess, first about what the goal of tiles are. The idea there is that if there was a no tile game mode, and you only played without tiles, and that was it, the meta would be solved a bit quicker. Hierarchies and tiers of characters would be crystallized a bit sooner, and it would be harder to break out of that. The idea of the random tiles is that characters that are maybe not that good in the normal meta get this boost and get some exposure and gameplay, from time to time. I think the frustration of tiles in the community comes from that it changes very often, and that because you see the tile before the battle, like I know I'm going into a Devil's Deal game, that requires me to go change my deck to account for Devil's Deal. And then when it changes again the next day, I need to change my deck again. So I like the randomness and the dynamic gameplay that is generated by tiles. It forces you to play a little differently than you normally play. But I wonder, and this is something that we haven't really play tested or anything, but just thinking out loud, I wonder if it would be better if tiles appeared in every game, but you didn't know in advance what they were. Or that 2 different tiles could appear, the one on turn 1 is a jump pad, and then the one on turn 3 is a Devil's Deal or something like that. Because then you still have that unpredictable gameplay, and you, the player, can still adapt to it in the middle of a battle, but you don't feel that obligation to sort of change your deck and change the meta every day to account for the thing that you know is going to be in the battle. Like, I only do the balance changes. I'm not, this isn't something that's coming in update 8. This is me just speculating and answering your question honestly. But, my assumption is that random elements in the middle of battle can be very good, can force a lot of adaptability and creative gameplay, but the frustration comes from when you know it in advance, you sort of have to build around it.
Here's the thing.
Okay, now that he's before we continue, now that he's kind of talking about that and saying that, I don't like that idea. I'll just be honest. I don't agree with that idea, and I'll tell Seth this after I've listened to it. So I'll talk to him about it probably later today or tomorrow. Essentially, my idea for like fixing like the random tiles and everything like that. Some of you have heard this before. I've mentioned this in a few videos as well. Is I'd really like to see tiles just transition into items, right? And then that way we don't know what items we're gonna get. It's different every time, so it still has that like RNG aspect. But I think the best thing for it would be like the tiles you get in the game, like once you're in, or the items you get in the game, they're the same for both people, right? So on turn one, an item drops in, it's Devil's Deal, right? Then you're not forced to play your unit on any specific spot on the map. You can literally place your units anywhere and then just equip that unit with the item. So it's like, okay, now my unit will receive 80% damage at the start, but it gets plus 10 damage. Or loses 80% of the health and gets plus 10 damage. So kind of looking at like that aspect of it, I think it's a lot more... It still has that like random aspect to it, but it's still a lot more fair. And the plus side of it is that you actually get to play the units wherever you want. You're not forced to play a unit like, oh, I have Devil's Deal and I want to play Archer, but Devil's Deal's in the front row. So now if I want Devil's Deal on my Archer, I have to play Archer in the front row. And then it completely ruins the strategy. So I'd like to see that kind of twist to it. Where it's... I'm actually going to do this. Where there's still opportunity to like outplay your opponent with items. What if they had a game mode where there are multiple different tiles in one map? That would help. That'd be a fun game mode. That'd be a fun game mode. Or like a special event where it's just like different tiles and stuff like that. But yeah. Is Clash Mania about to release soon? There's no official date, but I would hope probably sometime 2024, like early 2024. Shoot, actually. All right. So let's keep rolling.
Random tiles were that way before update 7, and no one liked them. So we already tested that. It kind of like puts you in a position where if someone is running a Clash ability focused deck and they get mirror tile, it's game over. You have nothing you can do. But if you're like running an Archer Queen deck and you suddenly get like a power electro tile, then it's kind of like GG for you. That's like they kind of have no chance in beating you because you have your super right off the bat. So it's something we already tested and people were already like kind of upset with it. So I'm not sure if that's the solution.
Do you feel that the design of the existing tiles is maybe too impactful? Like, plus 7 energy or plus 10 attack damage is like dramatically more impactful than something that might be like a plus 5 hit points, right?
Well, that's for some. Yeah. I was gonna say like Devil's Deal is so impactful that it kind of makes bowler meta instead of being like something that no one uses. And Grand Warden becomes like everywhere, Prince, Fisherman. It kind of like mandates the entire game and the entire meta for the whole day. Same for like power tile, like stuff like that. After the update, tiles have become like more and more impactful, which kind of like makes it so you have to change your deck every day.
And what was your thoughts on chatting?
Yeah, so I actually really like the randomness of the tiles. I think it does create a lot of unique gameplay. And I do like the fact that, let's just say you tell everybody what the first tile is, but then the second tile will change. I think that's really cool. The only thing that I think would be an issue is some people really don't like that. So if they don't have an option to play without that functionality, that will definitely upset a lot of the community. I feel like it's more of a I feel like most of the community would rather be like, all right, this is what I'm going to get. I know this is what's going to happen, and I like it like this. But I definitely think that there could be, hopefully, maybe in the future, more game modes where, we already see we have 2, Rumble and Duel, potentially even maybe more, where, everything is kind of separated.
And I think also that could be built in a way where it's not that every game has a bonus tile. I mean, I think even in the current build, you don't always get a tile. So it could be something where like 40% of the games have no tiles, 30% have 1, 20% have 2, and 10% have 3, or something like that, right? Like just some sliding scale where you can adjust the numbers until people find a nice balance. But overall, I think it is riskier to have no dynamic of events in the gameplay and have it become sort of stale and repetitive than to try to find some middle ground, something where there is unpredictable events, there are things you have to adapt to, but they're not so overwhelming or so like meta warping that you feel like your decisions don't matter. It's still, the most important thing is that it's a strategy game. Your decisions, your placement, your timing, your elixir management needs to be the thing that helps you win the game, and the tile should just be a thing where you go, oh, I took advantage of that really good tile to counter his deck, and I feel rewarded for making good decisions. Not like, oh, Devil's Deal came up and I don't have Archer, so I just got wrecked and I couldn't do anything about it. But yeah, anything is possible. And of course, if Clash Mini goes global like we all hope it to be, there will be so many millions of players that I think it's easy to account for all the different play types. You can have a no tile ladder, or you can have maybe tiles on the ladder, but there's like grand challenges and grand challenges have no tiles, things like that. I mean, there's like, I think the nice thing about all of these global mobile games is that they're really a platform for that style of gameplay. You figure out what sort of gameplay people like, and then you offer casual modes and 2v2 modes and tournament modes and all that, so everyone's sort of happy with whatever level of competition they'd like to engage with.
All right,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds great. And one last thing about the hero balancing, because as we were just talking about the Barbarian King and the Last Stand ability, the Barbarian King seems to be the tankiest hero inside of Clash Mini by far. It just survives the longest, and I don't think really that was so much the intention of it being the tankiest, as there is a Shield Maiden who has a shield, and that's pretty much its only function in Clash Mini. Is there any thing that's going to happen with the Shield Maiden to make it on par with the Barbarian King as far as tankiness is concerned?
Yeah, so we posted on Twitter. I posted on my Twitter feed maybe a week or so ago, asking for ideas for a Shield Maiden rework. Shield Maiden is a character that has a few awkward bits of her kit since the change to no movement. She has this clash ability that halves the attack of people in front of her, which is great if you can kind of constantly move and readjust, and it's kind of weak if you are locked into your position from round one and people just don't place stuff in front of her. She also had this, this is more of a design philosophy thing, but when she reduces damage by 100% and gets fully immune, that's kind of clunky and awkward and lacks counterplay. Like, there's nothing you can really do to break her out of that mode. And there were times where she just became like completely unkillable, and that didn't feel like fun or something that you as like a player could really interact with. And as you mentioned, you're right. Like, she doesn't have shields. Like her name is Shield Maiden, and she doesn't generate shields or anything. So we're gonna make a few changes to her kit, trying to give her a bit more damage and trying to make her a bit more of sort of a focused tank. So
Interesting.
the first change is to her shield ability, her super. So instead of reflecting 100% of damage, she's going to reflect 50% of damage, which means that she takes 50%, she reflects the other 50%. She's no longer damage immune, but she is still very tanky. That does sound like a nerve. I can see people kind of crying, or maybe it's not the best news, but there's more coming. We did more than that. So her second ability had a lot of keywords and wasn't super clear. We wanted to make it more of a damage contribution ability. So this is she has this 3x4 template in front of her, right? The tile in front of her, the tiles, the left and right in front of her, and then 4 tiles back, all the way to the back of the map. This is about 60% of the enemy board. Her clash ability has been changed to clash all enemies in that 3x4 template get a burning debuff for up to 10 seconds. Now burning is...
Whoa. Okay, so far, let's recap, because I see, Joker, you're a little lost on this one. So what he said so far was Shield Maiden is going to change to, she won't reflect 100% damage anymore. Instead, she's going to reflect only 50% damage and take the other 50%. But her clash ability is like that 3x4 area is going to now deal burning damage to people. So it sounds like instead of having the attack, it's now going to deal burning damage, which is very interesting. Interesting.
It's 1 damage a second for 10 seconds. So this is basically 10 damage to everything that's standing in that big block in front of her. However, because it's damage over time, it can be healed. It maybe isn't relevant if it gets on a backline troop, that kind of thing. But she's going to apply this burning debuff to everything at the start of the battle. This gives her this. Part of the reason why we wanted to do this as damage as opposed to more tankiness is that having the attack of stuff just creates more of this like gameplay where nothing happens, where like she's not taking damage and then getting healed and not really dealing damage back. So we would much rather have characters be able to do a decent amount of offense as well. And this is, I think, going to make Shield Maiden, I mean, you can't really move her, right? But it hits so much of the enemy board that's going to be difficult for enemies to place around her without accepting they're going to take some burning damage. And then her third ability, which I think is going to be a real love-hate ability depending on who's playing her, is Shield Maiden, instead of having +1 energy on effective heal and +1 energy on stun, which is an ability that is a bit difficult to see. Like if you're a new player and you're watching the battle, effective heal and when stunned are like not easy triggers to understand or follow. And it kind of made her like an ambulance simulator, right? You just play her with all the healers. Healers are spamming heals on a tank who then gets more energy to put her shield up more often. It's a bit of a like woof, woof, woof. So instead, you mentioned that Barbarian King is maybe the tankiest character in the game. She's going to have a similarly tanky ability. So her third ability is being changed from +1 energy of effective heal and +1 energy when stunned to, similar to the Barbarian King, a last stand ability, where before she dies, she's going to gain 50 shield, up to 50 shield, and max energy. So right before she dies, 50 shield, turns on her block, and that gives her a huge effective pool of health. What's been really fun about this as well, is that this has turned into a indirect buff for Dart Goblin. A ranged carry who doesn't quite have like the love for it, but it's a ton of health against people who can't really fight through shields. But Valkyrie, Dart Goblin feels so good when they can kind of counter her in the meta. So we think she's going to be strong. We think she's going to be like a pretty powerful tank and really still serve the same purpose that Shield Maiden players want, which is like a tanky, really hard to kill frontliner. But it's also, I'm not worried about her dominating the metagame because there are sort of built-in counters to her last stand ability.
Wow.
That's 120 total hit points between her 70 hit health points and the 50 shield. So she is definitely going to be a real tanker character afterwards.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people like freaking out at that number, but you got to also remember Mega Knight has 100 HP at 3 stars. I know nobody plays Mega Knight right now, but it's only 20 more, so it's not
Wow.
like it's 500 more than every other mini in the
Yeah.
game.
And it's worth mentioning that even if you have a bunch of health, if you have no damage output, it doesn't matter, right? Like, I mean, she's still hitting for a very low amount of damage. If it's just her being 1-on-3, the 50 shield is not going to automatically kill everyone else. She's gonna need to still have backline support and DPS on the field in order to make the most of that tankiness. Hey, also I noticed in chat somebody asked about the taunt on the shield on her super. She still does taunt, and it'll be taunting nearby enemies, which is the same size as a lumberjack potion. Yeah, it's like that 2 tiles out in each direction with the little diagonals. So, yeah. So I think she still taunts. She's still going to be recognizable as the Shield Maiden, but we hope that getting this massive 50 shield right before death is going to help her live up to her name and create these heroic moments that we want. I mean, your heroes should feel heroic. They should have these moments where you're like, oh my god, that is so cool, that is so broken. We want everything to feel pretty broken, and in that like mixture of heroic
Thank you for the follow on
moments,
TikTok,
it
Lucas.
all
Appreciate it.
balances out in the end. So it's cool that Barbarian King has this last stand ability, and it's cool now that Shield Maiden has this giant 50 shield. It's really going to make new players like pop their eyes out and go like, whoa.
Wow. All right. So those are absolutely massive changes. So Shield Maiden will still taunt on the super. She's gonna get 50 shield as the last, 50 extra shield as the last stand. It said up to 50 shield. So we'll see what that entails. But I mean, wow, that is quite the change, if I say so. All right, we still get Elixir there. GG Cloud9. Yeah, that's a really hard matchup for me. I like the change. I actually really like that change. I think there's some really good opportunity there. You know what I want to do? I actually want to just plow through this Dagger Goblin. I really like the change, so let me know what you think in chat.
And that's the sort of thing that makes you fall in love with a new game.
All right,
Perfect.
since we have like 6 minutes left, I have like one last topic that's a little bit controversial, but I want to bring because people are talking about it every now and then. So Prince and Fisherman, we all know like Prince and Fisherman are really strong as clash abilities that they dictate the entire meta and like the entire way people play. So for example, Prince makes the front line, the first line of the game, completely unusable for your tank because you need to keep a spot empty in front of it to be able to like counter a Prince. And we all have seen how Fisherman, once he got that one tile nerf, everyone started playing Lumberjack, Royal Ghost, Miners on the last row. So like the mere existence of Fisherman kind of like killed every single clash ability that's like not offensive, similar to like Bowler, Spear Goblin, Lumberjack, Miner, stuff like that. So they're kind of like killing the variety in gameplay. So any kind of like ideas on how to tackle that problem?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a few issues at play here, and I'll admit I don't have all the answers. We're not 100% sure on like what the perfect solution here is, but one way to look at it is that Prince is the only character that does this fundamental ability that many decks want, right? So perhaps the solution is that that you would want multiple characters that either charge or displace or pull people around, so that it's not just always Prince, but some decks could run a weaker 2 elixir version, or like Fisherman or Prince kind of being a nice like A or B. If there were maybe 2 or 3 other choices that did similar abilities, most decks would include some sort of displacement effect, but it wouldn't be the exact same character every single time. That feels like a narrow meta. Like that's one direction. The other could be that, yeah, like it turns out we're still in a very early in Clash Mini's lifespan, and if you consider the no movement change as like a total start over of the gameplay philosophy, maybe something having push and stun that can't be blocked or whatever is just too strong of a mechanic. Maybe it needs to be that Prince can stun but doesn't do the pushback, and the pushback is something that you need a separate character for, or something like that.
They're talking about Prince and Fisherman.
Yeah, so I understand the concern. Like, you don't want every single deck playing a certain way because of a single mini in the game. But I don't necessarily think the solution is that there's 0 ways to displace minis or pull or push things out of place at the start of battle, because that's one of the main ways that we're going to have interaction and counterplay between the characters. So like you mentioned, as soon as Fisherman went down, everyone started playing Lumberjack and everything on the back row. So if there was no Prince, no ways to displace, then I think you would just see a lot of, I guess what I would call combo decks, or decks that are trying to put some broken interaction together on their side of the field, and you have no way to reach across the board and do something about that. So yeah, I don't have all the answers right now. I think there's a mix of things we can do through balance changes until Update 8, and then of course the release of Update 8 may have some solutions to this as well. But yeah, like, we are keeping an eye on Prince. Prince is 100% on the watch list. If it continues to be like super strong and meta warping, we can do something about it. But at least right now, Prince is the 7th most played mini. I'm sorry, 8th most played mini, and has a 54% win rate. So, you know, a little on the high side of win rate, but not played quite so often as it might sound. But yeah, like, I think that if Prince continues to be this strong for another month, we could see some sort of change to his kit. But at least right now, I think it's worth it to keep displacement and push effects in the game, to prevent everything from being a little too, I don't know, stale or solitaire playing. Someone asked if he's played Clash ability mini, so let's take a look. The I don't know. Miner is the second most played, has a Clash ability. Then Ice Wizard also has a Clash ability. Then
just to be clear, when people say Clash ability, they mean stuff like Fisherman, Prince, Bowler, and Spear Goblin, like direct damage or direct displacement.
Then I guess he is the first most played of those 4 minis. I'm taking a look. He's definitely the most played of those abilities. I'm just trying to see where Bowler and
Fisherman. Fisherman is probably the second most played one.
Actually, Fisherman's pretty far down the list still. Good win rate, but not played nearly as much as you might expect. Actually, the 5th least played mini is Fisherman.
Ooh,
above 2.
Wow.
But that also contributes to the high win rate. So when it's generally the less a mini is played, the higher the win rate might be, because only people playing it know how to use it. Like, there isn't casual players playing Fisherman. But that's
but one-trick ponies.
Sure. I'm trying to look for Spear Goblin somewhere around here. But anyways, yeah, I think it's fair to say that Prince is the most played and most impactful of those like Clash attack minis. But again, like, maybe the solution is that Spear Goblin and Bowler need to be better. We can nerf Prince as well. Like, maybe if you meet in the middle somewhere, right? But you know, we just did nerf Prince last month by taking away the stun locking from Pony. And so, you know, we're willing to keep making nerfs if that's what's needed. But at least this month, it doesn't seem like Prince is a massive outlier. But if it continues to warp the meta for another month, yeah, like, I have no moral qualms with nerfing Prince and trying to figure out what's wrong with the kit.
All right, sounds good. It's 9:40. Do we want to open it up to the audience?
All right, so before they get into audience questions, so basically it sounded like they're looking at Prince, like, they're still watching everything. Prince is definitely a meta altering unit and everything like that. So I definitely see the like qualm with like Clash, like offensive Clash abilities that we have, like kind of like I'm literally playing right now with Bowler, Spear Goblin, Fisherman, Prince. Like, I'm literally playing all 4 minis that they're talking about with Pink Fury. And it really comes down to, like, game knowledge, in my opinion. Like, I beat people who seem like they know what they're doing in the game, right? Like, they know how to body block. They know how to play around Fisherman. They know how to play around it. And, like, this deck is, like, people are saying, like, these units are broken because they do these things. But they're not broken. broken would be like Royal Ghost last season or Wavemaster Bandit, where it's like you specifically have to play certain things. Like it creates a like click around that specific unit of like, this is how you counter it, this is how you do it, and you have to play these specific things in order to have an opportunity to win. That's what I would consider to be broken, because it literally alters the way the entire game is played. In my opinion, that's what breaks a game, when there's one unit that you either play it or you counter it. There's no in between. That is a broken unit. When it comes to you don't have to play something specific to counter a prince. You don't have to play something specific to counter a spear goblin, right? Like you could just throw a tank in front of it and that's it. That's all you do. You don't have to play something specific to counter fisherman. Just play in the last row. Like there are certain things about it where there are aspects where it's not 100% unplayable or uncounterable. You don't have to play a specific thing to beat it. So I don't think these units are broken. Are they altering the game? Sure. But are they broken? No. So that would kind of be my take on that specific aspect of the conversation. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to go stunts here and then call it. Let me read chat for a bit. Prince would be higher use rate if BK to Elixir wasn't so prominent. Maybe. That's the thing. BK has like a 56% win rate. Like BK is absolutely insane. Here's the reason I can't play my beautiful shield main first row. I mean, maybe they do something where like the like they could shift the monk, like how they shifted monk. Like right now, because Monk's Clash ability doesn't affect heroes. So maybe they can make it where Clash abilities don't have an effect on heroes. So like if you put a, so for example, if you put a Prince on a Shield Maiden, the Prince would still deal damage. But, so the Prince still deals damage, right? But the thing becomes, it doesn't, let's throw this here. So the Prince will still deal damage to the Shield Maiden, but it doesn't knock it back. So like, what if Clash abilities didn't have an effect on heroes? Like they could still, like you could still damage the hero, but it doesn't actually. Oh my gosh! Yeah, we got destroyed. Good game. That was a weird deck. One Clash per deck. I feel like that's so limiting. I don't know. I think I'd rather have it be where just heroes don't get affected by Clash abilities. So they'll still take the damage, but they won't have knockback. They won't have, like if a bowler hits your hero, the bowler doesn't stun it, right? Also, I don't like that Countess won't fully block healing anymore, because that was one ability, one of the things that made her unique. And I mean Clash for Natureborn, because there are clashes that would need an upgrade now, but that would be... Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, like, would that actually make a difference for heroes? I don't know. Maybe it would. I'm worried they mess up Skeleton King because the rework might be the same thing that happened with World Champion back in Season 5. What, where everybody thought it was going to be a great change and it ended up being a really bad change? Is that what you mean? No sound detected? Chat on TikTok, can you guys hear me? Why is it saying no sound detected? Yes, okay. That was weird. Why is my studio saying no sound? Weird. All right, let's listen to audience questions.
Probably, yeah.
All right, then I'll go ahead and do that. So we can select by Abdude in chat and then myself as we pick. People asking, keep the questions balance related because update 8 is from Frame and Frame is not here. So yeah, you can now raise your hand if you have any questions. Abdude, do you want to go first?
Yeah, all right. Let's pick Fire Dragon.
Hello.
Hey, Fire Dragon.
Hello.
I'm sorry for the bad quality.
This Ice Wizard, dude.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the offensive clash abilities, but Abdul Artil asked my question. My other question is, what does the team think about the one-trick heroes like Wave Master and Monk, who just have one mechanic that they rely on, and without it they're nothing?
Yeah, I think in some cases that one trick is awesome and we should double down on that thing. So I actually think that Wave Master's flip is really fun, really interesting. It's obvious what's happening for a new player. You know, you put it behind and it goes ahead like there's no mystery as to what that mechanic is. And in that case, I think it's nice to really double down on that. Like, you're going to pick Wave Master. That means you want this flip ability. You're probably building the deck to take advantage of the flip. Like, I think that's the example of a sort of ability that is fun to build around and we should really emphasize as part of that character's kit. Monk, I think, is a little different because Monk's ability is an auto kill and the other ability allows him to auto kill more often. That can feel really binary and not super fun, especially when he's chaining these kills together. Part of this comes down to the mechanics difference between Clash Mini and other Clash games. Like, for example, shields in Clash Royale block any over damage. So, like, the shield gets killed and any extra damage goes away, and then it has to get attacked again for hit points. If that were the case in Clash Mini as well, then I think maybe the Monk's ability would be fine. It would sort of teach you the mechanics of shields. There'd be some counterplay there. But because shields just function as extra hit points and that 100 damage attack goes through the shields, through the hit points, and just geeks whatever it was attacking. That is probably not the sort of mechanic that we'd want to have forever in Clash Mini. We're trying not to rework too much at once. So in general, we're reworking about one hero a month, and this month it was Shield Maiden. So there's no plans for Monk next month, just kind of leaving it as is. His win rate's not super high, his play rate isn't like super high, but that's a situation where I sort of agree with what Abdul and Chatton were talking about from a design standpoint of he's not, I don't think, a very well-designed kit and something that's very fun for people to play against. So we're going to try to figure out a way, maybe next month, maybe the month after, to rework Monk's kit into something a bit more dynamic and a bit more fun that doesn't feel quite so like, all right, he just one hit my Mega Knight, cool.
Okay, fair. Thank you for answering. I'm now going
thanks for
to
your
leave
question.
because I embarrassed. My voice is crap with the air conditioner.
Sounds
See
good
ya.
to me. See ya, have a good day.
No, it's not actually
Bye.
Cypher. Okay, so in that one, they kind of talked about like how the different like the kind of one-trick heroes, if you will. So like Monk, Wave Master, and basically the Clash Mini team is saying that they kind of want to like dive into that, like they want to roll with that. Like if it is, like if that's what it is, then that's what they want to roll with. So we'll see. Yeah, and it says they would kind of want to rework like one hero a month, and this month it's going to be Shield Maiden. So we'll see where that takes us. Champion one was you, GG Multimedia. If the stage channel is not happening in the Clash Mini server, where? It did happen in the Clash Mini server. I'm just listening to the VOD of it. That's all. Just hit legend with the RC deck in one of your videos. Hey, let's go, Ev. GG's.
I guess we can get Flacco in next.
Ooh, I'm surprised I got it. I accepted it. I'm with my phone. Thank goodness. Okay, but hello everyone. How y'all doing? My question: Are we gonna see anything in Barbarian? Like any type of changes?
Oh yeah. Hey, we are gonna change Barbarian a little bit, but it's one of those changes. I don't want to spoil it, but it's one of those changes where he's a little bit worse at 0 and 1 star, but much better at 2 and 3 stars. So I want you all to know that if you love Barbarian, you got to commit to Barbarian. Barbarian needs a commitment. You're going to play him on the field, you got to play him up to 3 stars. But if you play him up to 3 stars, he's going to be significantly better than he currently is. So like, hashtag commit to Barb. Make your Barb commitments now. He's an investment. That's right, Choco Chip Donuts. Barbarian is an investment. He's a long-term play. Yeah, no, we are going to do a buff to him next month. I may be overselling it a bit. It's not going to be like a complete world-ending, game-changing buff, but he is going to be quite a bit better at 3 stars than he is currently.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank goodness. Barbarian needed a change.
He needed it. He's a fun one. We want him, of course, to be a bit better than he is. So yeah, man. Thanks for your question. I wasn't planning on talking about Barbarian, but I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, thank you. All
Wow. All right.
Bye. Have a good one.
So Barbarian is going to get a little bit of a buff. Interesting. All right. I kind of thought Barbarian was just going to stay like, you know, that lone unit that was like only good at the start of the ladder, but hey, I'll take it. The part where he said he understands the frustration of player about tiles, but he likes tiles was the stupidest part in the stage channel. Well, so he's saying he understands the frustration with tiles because like everybody has what he means is that people have a different like a different style in terms of like how they like to play the game. So he's saying he understands the frustration that people have with the tiles, but he personally likes tiles. I think that's more so what he was getting at with that part specifically. I don't think it was like a like stupid point to make. I think in that part of the oh come on Pink Fury. Oh no. Good game. Dang it. So he's saying because he wasn't asked does he like Abdude asked him what does he personally think of tiles? So maybe for Seth as a player, he likes tiles, but Seth as a dev understands the frustration that players have with tiles. I think that's what he was getting at. Sean, thank you for the follow on TikTok. Appreciate it.
Hello. You are based Draco, it's confirmed. Anyways, so I was gonna ask that since Pink Fury is the most recent hero, what are your plans on her? Because she's kind of like in high B tier or something like right now.
My impression is that she's a bit on the weak side, but also she's such a different and unique character that I think both players are still figuring out how to use her and build decks around her, and of course enemies are still learning how to like play against her. There's nothing really on the slate for next month because I think Barbarian King is warping so much of the meta that it's kind of hard to understand like how good she actually is, especially because most people may not have her maxed out yet. There's probably a lot of games with people playing Pink Fury at like level 13 or something like that. So that's another character that we're thinking of like waiting another month on, but she's also on the watch list. Like as soon as we lock in or get close to finalizing 1 month's balance change, it's pretty common for us to make the next month's balance change and write not like changes, but we'll say like Prince probably nerf, Pink Fury probably buff, right? And just sort of start to outline what we expect will happen as a result of these changes and the things we'd like to address the following month. And I've already kind of penciled in Pink Fury next month for like, take a good look at her, try to buff her if she stays weak. But again, she's such an oddball character that I want to give it at least a little bit of time to settle in and not overreact and over buffer, because if she's like 10% too good, it's going to feel really awkward and weird if a character that has barely anyone else on the field, like just her by herself or maybe one other mini is just soloing entire armies. That feels pretty wonky. One thing I will say though is that she is the sort of character who would benefit greatly from new minis that sort of play into her style of gameplay. So I think she's a character that might stay a bit underwhelming because she just doesn't have the right synergies, but maybe in Update 8 you'll see new synergies for her that make her kit make a lot more sense and make her, make deck building around her a lot easier.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so they don't want to touch Pink Fury yet. And I mean, like, as I've been playing Pink Fury, like Seth said, she's a unique hero. I think she's the highest skill cap hero in the game. I don't think because there's such a unique mechanic, right? Like, she's the first unit in the game that solely relies on elixir management. So I think it's one of those situations where you kind of need to understand how to play her. And it's one of those things where she's not easy to play. I don't think she's easy to play. Yeah, we're talking about Pink Fury. So she's not. It sounds like she's not getting a change this month. And it sounds like they just want to see kind of where she lands after the Barbarian King nerf. Because, like, does Pink Fury get slaughtered because of how Barbarian King is? Or, like, will Pink Fury have her time to shine with the Barb King changes? So I'm interested to see kind of how that plays out. But, yeah, we'll see.
Thank you. I can totally understand that she has a really complex design to balance. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Let's go with Z Shield Maiden. I have to compensate for beating him in the tournament.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's how we're gonna start. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. My question was more towards Seth. For what are some bouncing principles that you've learned on Clash Royale and are now kind of applying to Clash Mini? Like lessons you learned and are now keeping in mind when doing balance changes in Clash Mini.
That's a great question.
I think one of the things that I've been focused on is mostly, again, like clarity of abilities and sort of simplifying the kits. I think something we've learned from Clash Royale is that characters just sort of need to work the way you expect them to work. And if the more hidden information and the more like unclear mechanics, the less fun the game is overall. Even if it's balanced, if it's not clear, then you're probably not having fun or it's not tickling your brain in the same way. I definitely want to be a lot more careful with reworks. Like when I said that we only want to rework one hero a month and things like that, that is directly due to the nightmares of me reworking Witch and Executioner and doing a bad job on those reworks and kind of really warping the meta. So instead of changing too much all at once, I'm trying to change things a bit slower, but also keep in mind that, people who play Shield Maiden expect her to work a certain way and fill a certain role. So even if you had cool ideas for the rework, trying to keep her fitting the same gameplay patterns that she had before. Something that I think went really wrong with some of the remakes in Clash Royale was the character no longer operated the way you expected it to. It didn't fill the same role in your deck as you had wanted it to before. And that feels like we, the game developers, borrowed your deck from you broke it and then gave it back to you and asked why you were upset, you know? So I think we're going to try to do a much better job on Clash Mini of just, you know, making sure cards still fill the same role that you'd expect them to, while trying to make them more clear, more easy to understand, and like I mentioned earlier, more heroic, more like kind of clearly, obviously, whoa, that's a cool ability, and less stuff that's sort of hidden in the background or happening off camera.
All right. All right, thank you. And a quick last question: should we expect clan wars?
I can't comment on future updates, but of course, games are more fun when they're social, you know. So,
all right. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Games are more fun when they're social. Seth has confirmed that clan wars are coming and updating. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I think that's interesting philosophy, and I do respect the decision to like balance one thing at a time. Like if you're going to completely alter something, like you don't want to alter too many things at once, because then that can sometimes cause more issues. Like for example, no movement. We had the entire game changed, and we had 2 balances, 2 updates of unbalanced things. We had Royal Ghost being insanely powerful. We had Bandit Wavemaster being insanely powerful. So it's like when you change something that drastically, there is bound to be things that just don't work. So I really like the approach in terms of like the balance changes of the game, where it's like, let's take it one thing at a time. We know these things need reworks. Let's prioritize like the ones that are more impactful. So I do like that change, or I like that approach a lot.
Let's go with RTR 2000.
All right, peace out, Joker. Have a good one.
Hi, you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I saw a recent problem that anti-heal stacks.
Okay, so if 2
Like-
anti-heals are applied, then they don't heal at all.
Yeah, I saw it that with Wizard, Dagger Goblin, Spear Goblin, mostly against Barping to Elixir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's functionally fine to me. A block actually works the same way.
Ah.
Block stacks if you stack 2 blocks together. You know, I think the most important thing is that all gameplay mechanics have some sort of counter, and healing is one of those things that you absolutely want. You want healing in your game, you want it to be a viable strategy, but you also don't want it to ever be a dominant strategy because it feels like there's no way to go against it. So part of the reason that we have more anti-heal in the game, like across multiple characters, is just so that decks of different varieties and types all have access to this anti-heal. And if healing meta ever becomes completely dominant, the ability to stack anti-heal and make that to a 0% healing gives deck builders and players kind of a counter, a way out, so that the meta never gets locked into this healing meta that has no counters to it. So maybe it's unintuitive, maybe there's a way we could make that a little bit clearer or easier to understand, but I don't find that from a design standpoint to be breaking anything, as much as it just gives players the tools to counter something when they need to. It may also be that character, like there's multiple different anti-heal buffs. So for example, if like Dagger Goblin and Spear Goblin apply the same buff, that wouldn't stack because it's the same one and it's just overriding each other. But maybe like Dagger Goblin and oh my god, why am I drawing a blank here? But like Countess have a different buff, and so then those 2 would stack. Oh, also, hey, since we're talking about it, one other text change in the next update is that we're going to get rid of that minus 66%, and it's just going to be called anti-heal. So attacks deal anti-heal, just the words anti-heal, and anti-heal will always be a negative 66%, which means that Countess is getting her 100% heal reduction changed to a negative 66% heal reduction. So it'll all be anti-heal across all the different characters. Yeah, I know Countess.
Nice. Okay, so Countess getting a slight change. Monsieur, not sure what you're talking about, but nope. You can, I'm sorry you're dealing with stuff, but best way would be to go through their channels, not other people's channels. So Countess getting a heal, or anti-heal. He was a subscriber here and advertising his graphics card here. Nobody was advertising their graphics card, or nobody was advertising anything on my channel. So. Game would, they should just release it. I want to play a game that wouldn't matter if I lag. Hopefully they'll release it. It's I feel like it's almost getting to the point where the game is almost ready for release. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Is there any plan to make Countess viable when Pekka remains dominant? So, it sounds like the changes that are happening now, Pekka, since Barb King's getting a nerf, Pekka will no longer deal its like 48 damage with like the ×2 and such. So that's a big change. And then Countess is, as far as we know right now, is just getting a slight health reduction or anti-heal reduction. So right now Countess's anti-heal is 100%. And it sounds like it's going to be changed down to 66% to like be balanced with the rest of it.
These players are having a nightmare in chat. I promise you're gonna like.
Yeah, Monsieur, you have to take that up with whoever you bought it from, which is not this channel.
Countess after the next change, but I don't want to talk about it. That's going to be a surprise for the actual bounce change.
Oh.
That's not the only thing happening to Countess. She's going to be cool.
So Countess getting like a whole change.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about this, if it was
Interesting.
intended or not. This was my problem. But if it is intended, it's cool like that. Like that.
You know, I'll be honest, in game development, there's not everything is intended, but sometimes you just kind of roll with what happens and it works out okay. So I wouldn't say that, like, if you asked me gun to my head 2 weeks ago, if that's how it was supposed to work, I'm not sure if that's how it was supposed to work. I can ask the other, the actual development team, but from a balancing standpoint, I don't think it's a huge problem for it to be there.
Interesting. So sounds like maybe it wasn't intended that way, but they like that it works that way. Cool. Monsieur, it sounds like it's your issue and you need to contact him just because he's subscribed to my channel. I have over 21,000 people subscribed to my channel. I'm not responsible for my subscribers' actions. So sounds like you just need to contact whatever you bought from. Nothing I can really do to help. Sorry about that.
Fire Dragon says I'm throwing hands in the studio. That's a good thing his question got done first and now he's off. Now he's off camera.
What happened? Someone in my YouTube chat is saying they bought something from a subscriber of mine, and they're asking me if they can get a refund. So
why not you
I don't
guys
know.
introduce a card cycle? Sorry, mini rotation cycle here.
Nothing I can do about it. Who are we
I'm
talking
sorry,
to? Is this
I
someone
don't
from
know if
Superstar?
I understand your question.
Why isn't there a mini rotation cycle? Like a mini is broken when it's instantly upgraded to 3 stars, right? So.
Monsieur, we can't do anything to help you. If you bought something from someone, you need to contact the person you bought it from. That's how refunds work. So, I apologize that you're going through that, but can't do anything really. You have to contact the person you bought from.
So isn't it good to have a rotation cycle of minis, like Clash Royale has?
We already do.
I'm
Oh, okay.
unsubscribing.
So it's not a
Okay.
it's not a randomized marketplace where I can get to 3 stars on round 1 or 2, but it would be almost like a deck of cards that goes in order, and like Clash Royale that goes
Yes.
back. Well, there's
Mhm.
only 5 cards in your deck, and with a 3-card hand and a 5-card deck, I'm not sure how different that would be. Oh, I guess. Well, yeah. I guess if you got rid of rerolls, and I would have to play them in order without rerolls, then maybe that could work. Again, that is something that an update would do, not a balance change. That's kind of like the fundamental game logic. But I'm sure the team has talked about something like that. I can have Frame or Donghong talk about that on next month's stage channel chat. But that's not something that I can handle over balance changes. But I get like what you're getting at. Personally, just as like my personal feelings on this is that I like the volatility and randomness that an unpredictable order is. So like if it was all perfectly ordered, or if I could just pick what to upgrade at any time with no randomness, then all the games are going to start playing out the same, right? Like I'm always going to put my tank at the same round and the same spot and all that. So I think that you do want a little bit of randomness and volatility in which minis are available to you, but
let's go Pink Fury.
I'm not sure that the system we have right now with the marketplace and the rerolls is perfect either.
Sure, thanks.
The question, yeah.
We timed that perfectly.
We went. I said we went through everyone for the first time.
Oh. Well, hey, this has been a ton of fun. This has been really exciting to get to talk to the community and hear some of their inputs and questions, and hopefully you guys have gotten some really fun spoilers. The next balance changes are going to be in like mid-October. So let's say October like 11th, 10th or 11th or so. The reason why is because there is a week-long holiday in Shanghai where the Clash Mini team is located. So it's going to push everything back 1 week farther than normal. I know that's a bit of a disappointment because people would love their balance changes right away on October, October 1st or whatever. But I just wanted to set expectations that these balance changes, the ones I've shared, many of them are coming. No promises, of course. We can always change things last minute. We're constantly doing balance testing and bug testing, and so if something comes up, we may need to make changes to some of the things I've shared today. But I'm sharing at least the intention of what we're hoping to do, and the final balance notes will be posted maybe closer to mid-October. So yeah. Sorry about that, but that's life. Yeah, exactly. And it's like a national thing. It's like every company goes on these kind of like week-long, bank holiday sort of things. So yeah, it's been awesome. I love chatting with the community, and of course, it's great to see people like Abdud, who I've met more recently through Clash Mini, and of course, people like Enchat and I go way back. There are videos of Enchat and I in 2017 casting big esports events together. So it's kind of crazy that we've been in this Supercell game scene for so long and still kind of meeting up often, chatting about balance changes, talking about the future. So it's been really cool to see kind of old and new faces again and meet a whole new community here for Clash Mini.
It's funny. I remember those days. I was more of a player and a viewer.
Yeah, and there's so much overlap between Clash Royale fans and Clash Mini fans too that it's felt like a really warm welcome coming over here. So it's been a lot of fun. Excited to see what happens over the next few weeks in the live game and how the next set of balance changes affect the meta. It's going to be a lot of fun over the next few months when Update 8 comes out, and let's all hope for the best.
There we go. Clash Mini.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
All right. So sounds like we got some pretty solid changes potentially coming up, which is awesome. All right, Monsieur, you're just I'm gonna tell you this for the 4th time. You're gonna have to contact whoever you bought to figure out your problem. That's just how it works. So I apologize, but I would also appreciate to not have my stream chat converted into your monetary support issues. I apologize that you're going through that, but again, there's nothing, and nobody in this chat, we can't do anything. You have to figure it out yourself. You have to contact whoever you bought it from and get that figured out. So I do apologize, but you're gonna have to figure that part out on your own. Oh God, hopefully I can yeah, just gonna lose. But Casting clearly owns the stream right now. What do you mean? Let me turn the game sound back up so it's not. All right, there we go. Now we can have game sound back up. That zap tile killed me. Yeah. This refund saga is still going on. I've never seen a streamer as patient as you. I mean, hey, I feel bad, but like, I can't do anything about it, you know? Natureborn will be good against the new Shield Maiden since Natureborn can move. Depends where though, right? Because if you just place Shield Maiden like right here, then Natureborn can only move here or here, which means she's like either backed into a corner, which might be fine. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Music game sounds a little too loud. Turn it down a little bit. Okay, that should be better. All right, let me grab Bowler here. Here we go. Going, sorry to be a nuisance, just saying that I've been scammed. I'm sorry you've been scammed too, but yeah, nobody in this stream can refund or anything like that. So hopefully you get it figured out though. Best of luck. Is it true the new Shield Maiden third ability will grant her 50 shields? They said up to 50 shields, yeah. Spam, honestly, thank you for the sub on YouTube. Appreciate it. Yeah, let's roll with this. Rogos need a rework. He's so strong with Valk and Stab Goblin. And that Ice Wiz third upgrade need to be back. If they bring back the Ice Wiz third upgrade, Ice Wizard needs to be a three cost unit because it's so strong. All right, this Archer Queen deck literally is this deck possible to beat BK on the Zap tile? Yes. But I'm finding it increasingly hard to beat Archer Queen. Like this specific Archer Queen deck. And I don't know if it's that because I haven't figured out the right strategy, or if this deck literally just doesn't work against it. Let's do... Can I get bowlers, please? Oh my goodness, you're not... Wow. All right. I'm surprised this AQ deck is performing this well. Yeah, it's a really solid deck. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's grab Prince. And let's grab the 2x damage. I've been using it quite a bit recently, and it's so strong. Yeah, it works really well. Oh my goodness, the fact that the RC shield hit, oh, gosh. Honestly, just kind of had bad rolls there. Just had bad rolls there, unfortunately. All right, let's roll with this. All right, here's the Archer Queen deck that we've been struggling against all morning. Ooh, we win the first round. Let's go. That's clutch. When RG combos shield, it feels so cheap. All right, so now I need bowlers. And I want to grab Spear Goblin here. All right, this is perfect. He's not going to body block me immediately. Nice. That's huge. All right, come on, Pink Fury. Nice. And let's go. Huge. How do you manage Elixir with Pink Fury? I tend to keep anywhere like 5+ Elixir. Is the success that I'm finding with Pink Fury specifically. Okay, actually what I need is I need Prince here. I need the ×2. And let's roll with this. I want to see where, if he has Prince, does he play it for my bowler? He's got Fisherman, so he's just body blocking. Okay, perfect. That's what we needed to know. So now we need to just Fisherman his Archer Queen. Right, so this is the play. Fisherman, Clash Pull. Let's grab the Pony here. And let's grab Stun ability. Roll him through. And let's leave it like this. Nice. Boom. All right, so we beat the Archer Queen deck. I don't know if it's because they didn't have Prince. Like maybe it's just because Prince wasn't there. Who knows? Let's see if we can hit 3,100 though. A Natureborn. You know this is the second Natureborn I've seen like since the balance changes. And it's nearly the end of the month. King Bishop, thank you for the follow on TikTok. Appreciate it. Wizard of staying still for a whole 50 seconds. Yeah. Shield Maiden heals is the only way to beat any form of AQ Invisibuse. Yeah. I just don't know if we won that matchup because they had they didn't have Prince. All right, I'm not gonna hit ready yet because I'm gonna make him think I'm like putting units down and such. All right, he's got the stun and the damage, which is fine. So we'll lose this round. Cool. All right, let's do. I want the Prince here. And I want the Spear Goblin. All right, let's roll with this. All right, now let's see what he does. Now let's see what he does. I love Natureborn, but it's almost impossible to overheal with BK2 Elixir Murder. Yeah. That's probably why that's probably why Natureborn isn't good right now. Yeah, let's see what he does with this. Let's just see what he does with it. Hold on, I'm gonna unready, play mind games a little bit. You know? I'm actually gonna throw Pekka here. Because if he puts something in front, I want to be able to kill his giant skeleton quickly. Oh, the stun. Well played. All right, so here's the play. Unstoppable. We're going Fisherman. We're going pull 3. We're going dealing damage. We're getting Pekka upgrade. We're going stun. We're going stun. And we're going Pekka level 3. Boom. Good game. GG's. Natureborn got a bug with Archer. She gave her so many stacks, but that's stronger only in low level. They killed her in the September balance. I don't think that was a bug. Archer Archer stacks her third ability, so I don't believe that was a bug. going up against Shieldmate. I think I lost to this guy last time. Is this still not in the US? Yeah, not, unfortunately not, no. Boom, there it is. To be honest, I think Natureborn is bad because BK outclasses her deer form when it comes to the ×2. Her human form usually runs Witch, but let's be honest, Witch is terrible in an RC Dagger Goblin meta. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I think last time this person had Pekka, so we'll see if that's still the case, if they're still rolling with Pekka. If they're still rolling with Pekka, then, yep, they are. Although my Pink Fury should actually be able to one-shot this Shield Maiden right now. Nice. And his Pekka two-shots my Pink Fury, so. The ×2 damage is just too much in my opinion. Well, good thing it's being changed to a +2, theoretically, so. Does he just go level 3 Pekka here? Certainly does. Well, that sucked. I lost because I stunned the Shield Maiden and gave her a ton of value. You know what? $10 damage, 18, 20. Oh, here we go. All right. Hold on. That actually might have worked. That actually might have worked. 2x damage buff from BK is just too much. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're changing it, so hopefully that will help. I think I want the pony instead. When does the US get it? Probably on global launch. Oh, we lose. Well played. Dang it. Dang. All right, let's keep rolling. What did I miss? We reviewed the stage channel that happened at 3 a.m. Eastern last night. So we listened back to it, and there's a lot of good changes coming to the game. So I definitely recommend going to watch that stage channel or watch the stream back, listen to it. I like pause and like talk about my thoughts kind of as the stage channel was going on. So Team Liquid hoodie is fire. This is definitely one of my favorite hoodies from TL. It's such a good hoodie. Clash plus Super is the good way for bowler. I felt like Bowler was a little like too strong with Clash and Super. Oof. When's the next Rumble tourney? Not sure. Hopefully, maybe soon. Maybe. I would hope that the next one is actually for a global celebration launch, but we'll see. We'll see if we'll see what Clash Mini and potentially maybe AMG wants to do for the next Clash Mini tournament. All right, let's grab if Clash hits ×2, and let's roll with this. We'll pull the Bowler, no problem. All right, Archer gets taken down, which is clutch. Pekka takes care of the Prince. Boom, let's go. There it is. All right, let's grab the Pony. And let's grab the... I kind of want to grab the 3-second stun here. And... let's roll with this. I don't think we need Spear Goblin. Maybe I should have put Spear Goblin where the Prince is. Because, I mean, I kind of figured that that was coming. Archer is going to be dealing quite a bit of damage. Yeah, it's stacked. Good game. I should have threw the Spear Goblin there, and I didn't. Regret. Instant regret set in as soon as I hit. Yeah, let's do that. Oh boy. All right, we can roll with this. I know the mistake I made last time, so now I'm not too concerned. All right, so now we can just do Pekka unstoppable and literally rerolling at nothing. So Bowler attack speed is kind of slow anyway, so I think a super wouldn't hurt. It's kind of crazy how much I needed that Pekka. Oh my Pink Fury clutch. What do I think about gizmos? I'm glad they're in events now. That's about it. BK with invulnerability at level 1 is logic, but unstoppable unlock at level 10, be fair. Well, that's kind of what I was suggesting for like the change for it. Come on, Pink Fury. Get the clutch. Get the clutch, Pink Fury. Let's go. Oh my goodness. All right. We're going to go Prince here. Now I'm going with the Spear Goblin here because that was a mistake that we made last time. Let's just roll with this. I'm up 2-1. I have the freedom to kind of... Yep, there's a Healing Ranger. Okay, perfect. That's fine. Oh, come on. Come on, Pink Fury. Clutch it up, clutch it up, clutch it up, clutch it up. Let's go. There it is. That was clutch. Let's go. Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. That was a great stream. We had some clutch wins with Pink Fairy. We actually gained trophies. This Pink Fairy deck really is not that bad, specifically with this tile. And I only say that because there is an opportunity where Pink Fury placed on the Electro tile could like stun the Barb King and potentially allow you to be able to get that shield down quicker so that you can hit the back line. So I really do like this deck. It's a fun deck. So if you wanna get Pink Fury a shot, give this deck a go. Give this deck a go. But that's gonna do it for the stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. If y'all aren't busy on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern and you like Supercell games, tune in to the Samsung US channels or the Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars channel, because AMG is hosting a tournament with Samsung and Supercell called Superverse, and it's literally all 3 Supercell games. Creators from the games, we got like Kairos, we got Judo Sloth, we got Kenny Joe, we got Juicy J, we got Orange Juice, bunch of creators. So Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be helping run that tournament. So like I'm going to be working on the back end. So I won't be on broadcast, but I'll be working on the back end. It's a huge project that I've been helping with at AMG. So a lot of work's been put into it. So definitely go check it out Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern on any of the Supercell channels. Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, Samsung US channels, the creators channels. Whoever you want to tune in live because it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is the first ever tournament in like the Supercell universe where like all 3 games are in one single tournament. So it's going to be cool. A lot of planning has gone into it. So definitely check it out if you have the time. But that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And if you're watching on the TikTok chat, head over to YouTube and drop a sub over there as well. But that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later. Peace out.